Wednesday. Wacky Wednesday.
It's Wacky Wednesday con El Bumper.
Unfiltered. The real deal. No pre-planning. No chingaderas. Straight up from the bill.
Wacky Wednesday.
B-Town's very own.
It's Wacky Wednesday con El Bumper.
Here's your host, Bumper Gomez.
What's going on, everyone? How's everybody doing this fantastic Wednesday evening? I'd like to welcome you to Bumper's Wacky Wednesday, man. We're gonna have another great show. I say that every week. All my shows are great in my eyes, but tonight's show is gonna be something cool, man. Something cool. I've been looking forward to this for it's been about three or four, maybe a month when I first reached out, and it's one of those things where I'm so happy that we're gonna be able to do this. If I can get this thing to work right. No, I've been waiting for quite some time to get Mr. McCain on my show, and it just so happens that I know him personally in a sense, like, I don't call him once a month or once every 6 months. We kind of go back to being in the Marine Corps. We actually served in the same unit, so that's pretty cool. Jimmy, I know you can hear me, and I haven't put you on yet, but dude, I'm nervous, bro. I'm nervous. I don't know why, but I am. And so, with that being said, like, my show is basically based on, for those of you guys that are tuning in for the first time, my show is kind of based on just people's lives, just open conversation with people. From different walks of life. Maybe they've had an issue, and we've made it a point to bring up the issue and kind of address how they came about it. And that's what I like doing. I like people to take something from the show and be like, hey, man, somebody went through this, somebody went through that. But it's what's the word I'm trying to? It's Forget it. What I'm nervous right now is I'm trying to get this split screen working, to be honest with you, and it's acting freaking foolish again. But let's see if I can get this to work. I don't know why it's not working. Jimmy, you there?
I'm here, man.
Okay, man. I'm gonna get it to work. I promise. I have no idea why. There it is. Man, dude, I was getting nervous I was going to be able to do this. Hey, but without further ado, man, my special guest this evening, Jimmy, is it okay to say where you're at or no?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is my very first international show tonight. You're breaking the ice, Jimmy. So now I've just reached on beyond the United States, so I'll let you say where you're at, but here he is, none other than Mr. Jimmy McCain. What's up, dude?
I'm good,
You doing?
man. I'm good. I'm out here in Dublin, just learning, going to school and getting my master's. So it's a good time. It's cold and rainy.
You see that you see that that happen a lot, like on movies and stuff. You see that it's gloomy and gray. Is it really like that all the time?
24 hours a day.
That's good.
All the time, especially in the winter because it doesn't really snow where I'm at Dublin. It just rains.
Yeah. Hey, Jimmy, look, what I tell you, they already hit me up. Turn his mic up. I don't know if it's on the volume or what, but we'll make it work. Let's get this all the way up here. Jimmy, but I first, dude, I want to thank you, bro, for giving me your time. The people just heard, the guy's in Dublin, Ireland right now. And you can't hear him. Come on, say something, Jimmy. Just count to 5 for me.
I'm a Gemini.
Okay. Hopefully people can get it there. What was I gonna tell you? No, I really think that it's pretty crazy that you're gonna get up in the middle of the night to do an interview all the way over here in the United States, and I just want to thank you, and I really appreciate you giving me your time.
Yeah, I'd do anything for an old friend of mine who we had to stand for hours in the heat, sweating and hating our lives. It's the least I can do.
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to tell you, man, that from the bottom of my heart and my family's heart, I want to thank you and thank your family, dude, for all the years of public service. Just complete public service. And I mean, dude, your family's been serving for a long time. I mean, a very long time. You come from a very
kind of a funny story about that. So one McCain has been in every single war that America's ever fought, right? So then we got Iraq and Afghanistan kick off two at once. And just like you think this is funny, I went to Iraq. And then years later, I ended up in Afghanistan. When I got back, I saw my dad. He said, "Thank God." I was like, "What?" He said, "We almost missed one there, but you got it. We're all good." So we got it. We made sure we hit everyone. My brother, a lot of people don't know, he's a really humble, casual guy, and he doesn't really talk about himself a lot. But he's actually an Afghan hand in Afghanistan for like 2 years.
Really?
And he's fluent, like Dari, Farsi, fluent on building up their Air Force and living in Kandahar, like on their side of the base. But whenever you talk to him about it, he's usually just like, "Oh, it's all good," but then he like shoots a shot of vodka and he's like, It's been a long time over there. So.
That's crazy. Hey, I wanted to ask you, man. What made you? I mean, what's your? Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. Somebody already commented on here. Is that man? There's too much echo. I don't know what the heck's going on here. Turning it down. I wanted to ask you: Is that a Irish energy drink?
No. Well, I mean, you could consider it. Wars has been won on this drink alone. So, not sponsored. TM.
Oh man. So you're gonna have to let it be. Okay. My wife's saying that the delay is causing the echo. I guess maybe because it's going over the water, and I don't know, dude. I mean, you're coming in clear, and it sounds great.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Hey, are you're on your headphones, right?
I do. I got these little earbuds here.
Hey, turn those off and let's see what happens. Talk to me now. No, I can't hear you now. You gotta make sure your Bluetooth's off. There, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. You sound way better.
Oh, all right, cool. Screw those things.
So I'll turn it down, and hopefully there won't be any echo of me in the background. So Jimmy, you are in Dublin, Ireland right now, bro, and you just got up and just said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna finish my degree over here." How does that work? I mean, how do
No, I got my undergrad in history, and I just didn't really know. Like when I was back in the Marine Corps and everything, I apologize, that was my phone. When I was back in the Marine Corps and everything, one thing I took from it, like the biggest lesson I really took from the military, was that I enjoyed teaching. And when I got out the first time, because I ended up going back into the National Guard, I was like, I didn't know what to do with my life. So the second time getting out, I was like, gonna do what feels right, and that's teaching. So I'm out here finishing my master's this time this year, or by the end of this year, and then I'm walking straight into a PhD in medieval history. So I'm just gonna be a professor the rest of my life.
Dude, I can't. Yesterday when I talked to you real quick, you showed me some Latin stuff, and I was just like, "What in the hell, dude?" Like,
it gets a little freaking intense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to turn off my sound. It gets a little intense. It's a very niche thing, you know, and the skills to learn are a little niche, but I enjoy it. It's wasting my life.
yeah, that's cool, man. Jimmy, like I said, dude, in the beginning, you know, if you tune into any of my shows before, and if not, it's cool. But I kind of like to kind of I almost go in order, you know, your younger years to you joining the military and stuff like that. Just I want to give the viewers more a picture of what it was like, dude, to be the son of a senator and to grow up in that shadow, in a sense. Not only, I mean, your dad is a decorated war hero, but the sense of just having that over your head, like, I mean, I could just imagine you being in first or second grade and like, oh, you better not have thrown a rock at a window, or you better not have done this, or you know what I mean? You're the son of a senator. You can't do those kind of things.
You know, he wasn't really like that. You know, I had someone ask me the other day, what if I could choose one thing that I would want my dad to be remembered by. I would say it was he was like a naturalist, like an environmentalist. So he was gone a lot because he was working, but when he was back, it wasn't like all discipline and intensity. We would really go camping. We'd go to Grand Canyon. We'd go to Sedona, Arizona. We'd go to Payson, Prescott. And a lot of people don't know this. That dude knew every single bird, every single lizard, every single tree, et cetera, in the state of Arizona. I mean, he loved that state more than he loved anything. So growing up was as normal as you could make a situation like that. He made it, you know? And most of my memories are more getting yelled at because I burned the hot dogs down by the river. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
He was a unique guy, but it didn't really get to me because he didn't make it get to you. Does that make sense? He had a way of explaining everything that you can go back and really just Google any of his times he was talking, that he made everything make sense.
I mean, I could see that. I just, to me, it's just like, man, I know I got friends who grew up as the sons and daughters of preachers, or, you know, somebody big in the church, or a mayor or something. And just their lives in a small town was like, dude, you better not, that better not be, you know, so-and-so and so-so. So I could just imagine how it was elevated on your level.
But, you know, everyone always says, like, I got lucky with him. I'd like to say, he got lucky with me. All right. There's a part too where, you know, I was kind of a nerdy guy before I joined the Marine Corps. I wasn't a big party guy, you know. I didn't have a lot of anxiety because I didn't build it myself. You know what I mean? Like, so you know, I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt right now, you know.
No, I could see that. I mean, I remember I was a gunnery sergeant, and you were a corporal or a lance corporal, probably both. We were at 1-1, and that I can say you were very how would I put it? Not nonchalant, but I mean, rank to you is just like whatever. But here's the thing though. Here's the thing that I always tell people about you. And I want to tell you before I forget, because my mind, I forget all kinds of things. You were a very humble human being. You were a very humble guy. Even though you're a fellow Marine, and you know, people outranked you, and you could see that, you know, what would bother most E2s, E3s, E4s, you know, an E6 or E7, E8 come screaming, you're probably going to be like, okay, bro, like, just calm down, and you know what I mean? And you had that persona, but you were always very respectful, and that's what I want people to to know, just knowing that, I mean, dude, I knew when your dad was running for president, bro, of the United States of America, and you were eating chow in the chow hall. You know what I mean? You weren't getting any special treatment. I mean, you were eating the slop that was thrown on your tray there on what was it, the Green Bay or the New Orleans? Were you on both?
It was that Horno Chow Hall right
there. Oh, the
Horno
Chow Hall,
or you chow hall in the world.
Yeah, dude. So it's crazy, man. But that's what I definitely would say about you. So growing up in Arizona, from the time that you have kind of like memories back, I mean, what were you into, as a young kid?
Yeah, I mean, so I always like reading. That's, I think, where this whole part of my life came with school and everything. I loved reading, and I still do. I read every day. But I just like to read, really. That was my, like, all the nerdy stuff, like Dungeons and Dragons and Lord of the Rings and all that stuff. The problem is if you spend 20 years of your life reading nothing but idealistic novels, you turn 18 years old, and you immediately enlist for an ideal.
Dude, and then at that, you join the Marine Corps. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
if you're going to join, why not just do the hardest and the best one? I mean, what the hell? We're not pussyfooting around here. We're all Marines here.
Yeah. So you're, I mean, growing up there in Arizona, like, did with your dad, was a senator from the time that you can remember?
Yeah. Before I was born, he got elected to the House and then the Senate, and then I was born in '88. So he was already elected senator, just I think the year or two before, and then just my whole life until obviously 2018. He was a senator, ran for president twice and all that.
Yeah.
It was all I'd ever known, which so the life now for me is very different. This is kind of a very different time in my life, these last 2 years especially, but kind of the gift of God. I had my son last year, so it's kind of, this transition has been great.
Man, so you're doing the fatherhood thing.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of get into that. So like, with your dad being a senator, that means that he's not going to be, it's kind of like being in the military, right? I mean, he's like in DC, 50%, 70% of the time.
Yeah, I can say, from, like, in all honesty, that man came back to Arizona as much as he could. He's very adamant about being with us and not being kind of one of these, like, you watch these shows, like a lot of people I talk to, whether it's in a bar or casually, everyone has a very weird look at that kind of life, but he wasn't like this, like, absentee. He spent as much time with us as he could and raising us, you know what I mean, and getting his morals and ideas. But yeah, Monday through Friday, I would say on average, he would leave Sunday night and come back Friday or Thursday night or Friday morning. So that was kind of the gist. God bless my mother. Let's give a shout out to her.
Yeah, dude. Shout out to your mom. I mean that, and then raising. I mean, well, if you're reading books, I guess it's not too hard. I mean, you just give them a book, sit down. We give kids iPads now and stuff. They just gave you a new book and said, Jimmy, sit down, read this book.
So a lot of people don't know that besides being a prolific writer, my father was also a heavy reader. So our whole life, he would come home and he would give me whatever he'd been reading. So we would exchange. We did that my whole life, all the way up until the week he died. We would exchange a book, and one, it always gave us something to talk about when we would see each other, especially when I was older. But two, it really expanded my knowledge in, like, literature, history, things like that, because the guy wasn't reading, a scholastic special on the Revolutionary War. He would be reading some in-depth stuff. And so it was a great way to grow up, though. It was great. I have no regrets. I mean, it was unique.
Man, but Jimmy, you don't hear that, dude. I mean, that's something lost. I mean, I don't. I mean, for me personally, I don't do that. I mean, maybe some of my friends do that, but I mean, when we're sitting around drinking a beer, I don't really hear people saying, "Hey, I gave my son a book and he gave me a book." I mean, those are things that are not common anymore. You know what I mean? And I guess that's another thing that made your father so special. But so in high school, man, like when you got to high school and stuff, I mean, did you play any sports or just books?
Let's say I have the body of a well-read man, and I've always had that. I didn't play any sports. Yeah. I was never really a team guy until I enlisted. I'd never, I was kind of a loner guy. It's not like poor as me. I just, I never got into team sports. My brother and my sister, big times. Thanks, Jesse. But yeah, I didn't really play sports. I was, debate, math, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, it's almost like, one of the questions that somebody's already asked, and I don't mean to keep directing to your dad because I really want this to be about you, to be honest with you. But if he was giving you books, man, I mean, from as long as you can remember, I could just imagine if a grown man's giving you a book. I mean, your mindset at a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old was probably way broader than a normal, 15-year-old. You know what I mean?
So there's the other side of this, that whether it was planned out or not by the man, he was no stranger to the reality and the brutality of the world we live in. And for what is essentially a sheltered white guy growing up in an upper middle class family in the center of Arizona, I've always felt that those transfer of books was a way for him to expose me to reality that I wasn't going to get any other way. I mean, the books he was giving me weren't light. I mean, one of them that's always stuck with me was Roddy Doyle's A Star Called Henry. And it, obviously, I'm living in Dublin. It had an effect on me. But it's a fictional retelling of the Irish Revolution in 1916, the Easter Rebellion. It's very brutal. And to be 12 years old and into that book, it was almost like he was giving me a portal into what I was going to expect, what I was going to run into, in the real world.
That's basically what he was doing, bro. It kind of leads to already. I'm going to go to some of the comments because if not, people will comment, then I'll forget, bro, and then they'll hit me up after. Hey, man, you didn't read my question, bro. But one of the questions was why didn't this question was, why didn't you follow in your dad's political shoes, or do you want to? So basically, I would sum it up as like, do you think you would ever put yourself in politics after growing up the way you grew up and seeing your dad, public service? Is that something you think you'd get into later in life?
So I'll start that with the greatest part about living in the United States is that politics is not hereditary. It is not something that you were born into and is given to you. So, but to add to that, to do something, in my opinion, to become a politician, to want to change our country, you have to be in the mindset to do it. And I have not found that mindset personally. I have no intention of running for this country or for a political office in the country. And that's not that I don't love the country. I just know that there are people more qualified at this moment in my life that would do better at it. And that's the thing, is that we sometimes look at these almost like political dynasties, like Bush and Clinton and things like that in the United States. And it's almost like, of course, the next one's going to go. Of course, the next one's going to go. And I think that's a mentality we need to break. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. I mean, that's how we assume. I mean, you assume, he has two sons, and they're gonna keep the McCain name in politics, and that's what I was looking forward to for this interview, man. Because I really want people to know you, bro. Like, I follow you on Facebook, follow you on Instagram. And you're definitely not pursuing a line a job in politics. Not right now. So, but dude, can you remember a time where maybe you were just sitting down somewhere? Maybe in high school. In high school when you're going through those as a young man, you kind of, man, what am I going to do with myself? Where am I going to go to school? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? Did you ever just take a seat back and be like, man, dude, my dad, he's working his butt off. I mean, is that something I want to do? I mean, where in your life did you sit back in a chair and just take a deep breath and said, man, I'm going to join the United States Marine Corps?
So, all right, so I was I was graduating from high school, right? And I had no idea what to do with my life. I didn't apply to a single college. I didn't. I mean, I was just laissez-faire. I was going to figure it out. And then I graduated, and I had to get a job. And I got a job in a motorcycle shop sweeping a floor. And I realized I hate sweeping floors in motorcycle shops. And I went home and I actually called my mom, who's always been like my best friend, like my guide. And I was like, I don't know what to do, but I know I don't want this. And I'm not knocking that job by any means. Anyone who does it, I'm not knocking it. It just wasn't for me. And she was like, well, you didn't really do that great in high school. There's plenty of avenues you can choose, but this is a decision you have to make. There's plenty of things. So I went downstairs, and this is so stupid. And I walked in, the TV was on in this place I was living, and it was the guy fighting the dragon. We know what I'm talking about.
The commercial.
And I was like, I want to do that. I want to do that. You know what I mean? So I just pulled out on the computer and went to the nearest recruiting station and called the guy up. He said I can meet you in like 5 minutes. Went and met him, enlisted like 4 seconds later.
Really, dude, that quick?
Yeah, it was the same day, and then I think I got like 48 hours or whatever they give you to like say bye to your family, and then I just headed out.
So you had no time in the DEP, and those viewers that don't know, we're talking military lingo. DEP is a delayed entry program where usually like juniors in high school, towards the end of their junior year, they decide they want to join the Marine Corps, and they give them a whole year, and they kind of do like different once a month or maybe even once a week, depending on the recruiter. They all get together and they kind of get them ready for boot camp and get them ready what it's going to be, what the Marine Corps is going to bring to their new life. And Jimmy just said it in 2 days, bro. You went from nasty civilian to landing on some yellow footprints.
And I never forget that day the rest of my life. I was laughing earlier because they put these yellow footprints at the bank here in Ireland to separate you.
Yeah, the 6 feet.
To social distancing. And I walked in with a friend. I looked down. I was like, they got me once. So I'm not standing out for this. I'm not doing that again.
No, they did. They did get you. So when you before you even went to the recruiting station, I mean, who did you tell first, your mom or your dad?
Yeah, my mom. I called my mom. So there's a little more to the story. So I was actually 17. I wasn't 18. And if you remember back then, you could enlist at 17 as long as your parents signed the paper. So I called my mom and I said, hey, I'm in this place right now. I didn't tell her it was a recruiting station. And I said, I'm going to send you over some paperwork. All right. And I need you to sign it. Just send it right back. You don't have to read it. It's no big deal. Just sign it and send it right back. She's like, oh, okay, it's weird. All right. So they fax it to her. And I'm like, oh, she's going to sign it and just send it back. She's going to sign it. She's going to sign it. My phone goes off. What the shit is this? What am I looking at? God. So then I called my dad. And I said, I'm in a recruiting station. Will you sign this paperwork? And he said, I'm actually really busy, but call your mother back. She called me. She'll sign it, blah, blah, blah. So she actually signed it and everything. And then, we met up and I took off, a couple days later.
Wow. And after you signed, you went home and you got your 48 hours. Was your dad in town or was he gone?
No, I didn't see him. He came to my graduation though, which, for everyone who is listening, if you want to know the worst pain of your life, have John McCain show up to your boot camp graduation while you are still in boot camp.
Dude, I could only imagine the shit that drill instructors probably, the moment that they knew who you were.
Do you ever watch those nature shows where like a pack of dogs run down like the gazelle and they're all like grabbing it from either side? Yeah. That was 3 months for me,
And then from a guy who didn't play any sports.
Story about being in boot camp that I've never told anyone. So all these other drill instructors would come to our squad bay and they would just screw me up like crazy. Just, go up, up, down, all that, the whole 9 yards. Anyone who's been through boot camp knows. And one night, I know my drill instructors were getting sick of it because I was like I was in a wedding dress pretty much. Like those dudes, you know what I mean? So one night we had this other guy. My name's McCain. His name was like McLean, right? And he was this really tall, really overweight, just like really needed some more time in the depth before he enlisted. But the war was going on, so they were like shuffling everyone through. And he had these thick Coke bottle glasses. Like I'm talking like this dude could see the moon perfectly. These things were so big. And this drill instructor comes in. I wake up in the middle of the night and I hear my drill instructor yelling, "McLean, get up here." And the kid runs up and he's like, he's got his chonies all like half on, you know, he just looks like a slob. And I remember this drill instructor going, "I can't believe you look like such shit being who you are." And then he just screwed this kid up for like an hour, right? He's just beating the hell out of him, right? So as this is going on, my drill instructor walks over by my rack and he goes, "You're welcome, but you're dead tomorrow."
Dude, that is freaking dirty. So hey Jimmy, so no integrity. You didn't stand up and say, "Sir, I think you mean me. You want me to go?"
Hey, 90 days into it.
No, I could just imagine, bro. I could just imagine. No, so what I was gonna ask you is like, did you know, knowing the military history behind your name, your last name McCain, before you left in those 48 hours, you decided to make that decision. Did your dad like sit you down and be like, "Man, I mean, your dad was in the Navy. Was he he's in the Navy, right? Your dad was in the Navy."
Yeah, he was a Navy captain.
Yeah. So I did he sit down and kind of explain to you like, "Dude, you're joining the craziest gun club." And I mean, did he give you any of that kind of speech or at all, or he just said, "Hey," patted you on the butt and said, "Hey, good luck, buddy"?
He loved Marines more than I think. I mean, secret. I mean, he's probably rolling over in his grave, but I mean, probably more than he loved the Navy. I mean, that's an over exaggeration, but he loved the Marine Corps. I mean, he loved it. The big talk me and him had on the phone was he was so happy. I mean, he was just ecstatic, you know, because he never, our whole lives, pushed us to join the military. A lot of people, "Oh, of course you were going to enlist. Of course." No. Like, he's your life is yours. Remember, he's a Nam guy. He's not a World War II guy. Those dudes, you know, that's a different story.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Those dudes weren't like, "Duh," you know. So he was ecstatic. I mean, he was just so happy that I had enlisted, and that I think he was also happy to watch me take an adult step away from our family, away from him, away from my mother, away from everyone, to go be alone, which was always something that, you know, made me happy. I mean, but he loved the Marine Corps. He loved when I was in the Marine Corps. His big joke was he wanted to join the Marine Corps when he was at the Naval Academy, but his parents were still together. I don't really think that's funny, but hey.
That dude. I mean, did he tell you like, "Hey man, you know, you're joining a bunch of crazy people"? I mean, do you remember that? Did he tell you anything like that, or he was
just later on? Those conversations kind of happened closer to Iraq when we were deploying, where we had some very, very serious conversations before I went to Iraq, kind of about the purpose of the Marine Corps, you know, being the shock troops of the United States. And what had been happening was, if you remember, Fallujah just ended by the time I was heading over. So the Marine Corps was, you know, devastated. So we had some very serious conversations about that, but it was never a negative thing about you shouldn't go or anything like that. It was more like the books, you know, a reality. You know what I mean? Like what we're walking into. You know?
Yeah, I think I mean, you bring up a great point, Jimmy. You know, I really think that movies and stuff like that, they, you know, some movies are pretty realistic. You know, I can sit down with my family and be like, "Okay, that's kind of realistic. Yeah, that's kind of, you know, not very true." But dude, you know, when I joined the Marine Corps, in the mid 90s, early 90s, and you know, it was peacetime. You know what I mean? Like, it was just something for me to get out of my town, and I wanted to serve my country, and it just, you know, served. And I always used to tell my Marines, like, man, if you join after 9/11, knowing that our country was going to go to war and was at war, that says a lot about you. And I don't care what service you join. I mean, you're signing a dotted line. You know what I mean? You're signing a dotted line, and you're writing a free check. You know what I mean? To whatever the military, whatever service is going to do with you or send you.
Well, and that's why I also have mad respect. I mean, I have obviously mad respect for anyone who enlisted, but I think that the most respect I actually have these days is for the kind of 2009, 2010 guys who enlisted. Because if you remember before the war, I was in the extremely nationalistic period post 9/11 where it was so fresh to us.
Right.
And then those 9/10 guys, and so on. I'm not saying 9/10 was the cutoff or anything. Those guys are the guys I like respect now because they knew what was going on. They knew the war was almost like unwinnable. I mean, for lack of a better way to put it, I'm not saying it's unwinnable. They knew, and they still kept enlisting. And those guys are the guys I run into that I have just the utmost respect for. And then if you add in, you have 2010 with Sangin. And then you had 11 and 12 and what was going on. And then, I mean, those guys were really putting into a meat grinder, but without almost like the love of country that we had. Does that make sense?
No, definitely. I mean, the pats on the back and the flag waving and the parades, like all that shit was gone. It didn't exist anymore. And I get exactly what you're saying. You know what I mean? I always kind of refer back to when I'm in some of my other shows. I always refer back to the country, after 9/11, everybody I just had this conversation with a buddy the other day, sports, like guys were wearing the fire department, New York, NYFD or the police department caps. And, everybody was standing up for the national anthem and the flag, and everybody had a flag, and everybody loved one another.
Their car, you remember?
Yeah.
On the window.
Exactly. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, it was, everybody was just, so patriotic. And then all of a sudden it just disappeared, and I'm not going to get into, that kind of political thing, but no, you're absolutely right, bro, about the service members who joined even after the whole 2003, 2000 to 2007, everybody was like, hey, and again, I'm going to go off on a tangent and say, you're not saying that people don't do that. It's just, it just wasn't as popular as it was.
It was intoxicating.
It was intoxicating. Exactly. It was kind of forgotten about.
I went to the 2002 World Series. We got tickets. It was the D-backs won, the Arizona Diamondbacks. It was a big deal. It's the only time they ever won. They're total garbage now. And but I remember this like intoxicating feeling of watching thousands of people waving American flags, screaming the national. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to even imagine a time like that because it was so like feverish. But and I'm not saying that doesn't happen and people aren't patriotic by any means in the United States at all. I'm just saying that at that moment it was a lot more intense.
Right? No. I'm with you 100%, man. You like I said, you joined the Marine Corps, after that. How was, for mothers, and I didn't experience this until my daughter and my son joined the military. Being in the military and I always give praise to my wife for taking, I have 8 kids, man. So I always praise my wife for keeping the family together.
Get off her, man.
Yeah. Keeping the family together and everything going, while we're gone, and it's deployment after deployment. But, you kind of joined after the war kind of started and being a parent, your mom and your dad, like having a son or a daughter in the military, it's different, dude. It's a different way of thinking. I think your dad kind of, he probably would be like, hey, I can see this, him telling your mom like, hey, calm down. Like this is normal. This is what happens. You're not going to hear from him for so long, blah, 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 blah. And maybe, maybe your mom probably already knows that kind of military lifestyle. But dude, being a parent of a service member is no joke, dude. It's not, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it at all. Like it's just an ugly feeling always. It's always you're prideful. You go to the graduations and you talk to somebody like, oh, my son's a Marine, my daughter's she's in the Army, blah blah, and people are like, oh, that's great, man, your family serves. Yeah, but inside it's like, man, at any moment's time they could be gone, and then what do? They could get called to go wherever the case may be.
It definitely changed my mom. Like it definitely, my father too, but my mom, she was never the same. Especially with my brother and me deploying like almost at the same time, and then
dude, I could just
for the multitude of almost 10 years, at least one of us being gone. She really. We're both out. My brother's a reservist now, but I'm 100% out. And this year before this in 2019 was the first time me and him had been like in the same state in like forever. So definitely I saw a very different mentality with my mother that at first was like painful, but then over time became like strength. And she can kind of handle anything now. It was very intense to watch. So
I got a buddy that's a recruiter, man. That's his comment right there. During wartime, when he was, can you imagine knocking on the house like, "Hey, I need you to sign for your son to join the Marine Corps."
Right.
Shout out to my buddy Mario. It's like I said, it's a feeling, man, that I don't wish on anybody. It's just it's your pride. You're happy, you're excited, you're prideful for your kids, but at the same time, you got to kind of hide it a little bit. So Jimmy, you joined the Marine Corps, dude. And does your dad ever ask you like, "Hey, what job?" Or your mom, your brother, like, "Hey, what job are you gonna do?" Like, what do you?
I mean, so when that first day that I took the ASVAB, they were like, "Hey, you could." I think it was like a navigator on a C-130. Like they had some random ass job, and the exact words I said were, "Hey, watch Saving Private Ryan. What are those guys on the beach? What's that job?" And I remember the guy. I'll never forget this. His name's he was Gunny Yandel. I'm still friends with him on Facebook. If you're still around, shout out to you, Gunny Yandel. He's Motor T. He goes, "This O3 hump a lot. Nobody wants that job." And I was like, "I want that job." And he was like, "Well, we got a contract for it." I was like, "Well, I'll do that." And he was like, what? And I was like, I had no idea what I was doing. Let's just remind you, this is not a story where I'm like a badass, right? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I've watched too much SpongeBob that day. But so I signed up and I was like, "Oh, I'll be an 0311. And then it was, I think my first like really prideful moment about being an 03 was actually in boot camp. We got like a new drill instructor, like you have like 3 and then like a 4th one shows up.
Yeah,
like
the one that shows up right out of school and he's fresh and he's just all over the place.
Super tall dude, right? And he was fucking like the meanest dude I've ever seen, right? Like still at night, like seeing his face, right? And the first day, whatever, a couple weeks later, that they leave him alone with the platoon or whatever.
Yeah.
He goes, "Everyone get the fuck online, get online." Everyone gets online. And he goes, "If you're an 0311, step forward." It was like me and one other guy. Like, step forward. "You're the only people who don't have to push. Everyone else push." And I remember being like, "Oh, what's up?" I loved it.
Yeah, but those guys didn't see every Friday when you're walking up a damn mountain in Camp Pendleton, on a Friday just to go home.
Hey, before you guys can go home, we're gonna do Mount Motherfucker. Then you guys can head on home. God damn, what?
Nah, definitely.
They're like when we got back from Iraq and they wouldn't let us go see our families until we finished scrubbing our rifles, but like everyone else had already left, and it's been like 3 hours.
And you're still there waiting.
I was like, "What is this?"
It's all good. A senator's waiting. He can wait all night. Yeah, it's no big deal. No big deal. So when you became an infantryman, right? You went to SOI and then your first orders was to one. Well, your only orders to 1-1, right?
Yeah, so you know, I was with the whole time.
Yeah, 1-1. Because I met you. You were in the sniper platoon.
Yeah.
And then
1-1
we
stealth
kind of got put in the forward. I want to tell the viewers before I forget, dude. We were just talking about this offline, and I was telling you how humble he was. I'm going to paint you guys a great picture. Literally, shit, painting, and we just do this.
There you go.
Kind of that background right there. That's kind of the area that we were in, if that says anything. And as we were out there, you know, he freaking we're trained. I think it was Oman. It had to have been Oman. You said it was Jordan. I think it was Oman. But we were in Oman and we were doing this bilateral training, helping train the Omani services. Well, me and old Jimmy here, for some stupid reason, we end up in not a sniper tower, but like a watchtower, like a prison watchtower is kind of what it was like.
Like a hangout tower with guns and a lot of dirt.
So it was good. You know, we took the radios up there and we had good communications up there, and he was up there talking to his, you know, he was relaying for his sniper platoon that was out there. And this Omani dude comes up and he's like, "Hey, are you guys hungry?" And we're like, "Well, shit, yeah. I mean, we're tired of eating MREs. You know what I mean? We'll eat anything besides an MRE." So this guy walks in and he brings in a bowl of hummus. It was a bowl of hummus. And dude, I'm from ranch area down here in South Texas, brother. Hummus is not in my vocabulary. Never even heard of it. Never seen it. Never tasted it. Anything. So I'm like, all right, dude, whatever. We're looking at this bowl, and I look at Jimmy. I'm like, bro, what is this shit? He's like, it's hummus, man. I'm like, what the fuck is hummus? Like, I don't know what hummus is. And you were like, no, it's like hominy grounded up, right, or something like that.
Yeah, these like chickpeas or hominy.
Or chicken peas. There you go. Chicken peas. And you know, but hey, we jacked it up, man. But what we didn't know, that was just the appetizer, because afterwards they brought all these generals and stuff, and since we were out there, they set up this huge tent literally in the middle of nowhere.
Everyone's a general in the Omani army.
100. Everybody's a general. No, definitely everybody's a general. But they set up this huge tent, and these caterers literally, like when I say like in the middle of the desert, I'm talking there is not a light pole, an electric pole. There is nothing in sight for miles. And these guys come and set up this freaking elaborate tent with carpets and tables and chairs.
It's like Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, literally in hours they set up this.
Only with Gomez and McCain.
So we walk into this place, and it's just a buffet of food, and we're just looking at each other like, "Yo, is this for real? Like, is this really happening?" And of course, you know, our higher ups are like, "Hey, we eat last. Like, whatever's left, don't go over there and start grabbing shit. You know what I mean? Making a fool of yourself." But that's a memory that I have, dude. I remember us sitting there eating, and everybody just kind of looking at each other, looking at our plate like, God dang, dude, what do we do to deserve this?
One of my favorite stories of my life was actually in Afghanistan, and I was at this like shura, you know, and there was this lieutenant colonel with me, and it was just me and him, and they bring out the food, and he starts just going at it, right? And I'm like, what the, like, God. So I start eating some, and I look over and I go, "You do this?" He goes, you got to eat. And I was like, all right, I got you. And we're eating. And I go, "Do you ever get sick?" And without missing a beat, he goes, "All the time." Just keep shoving it in.
Dude.
That food, man.
It's crazy. And you know, I remember one of our conversations, like, and I wanted to ask you here on the show was, you know, do you remember doing a lot of, not just traveling? I mean, you know, you said your dad would take you guys here and there to kind of make it normal. But do you remember doing any international traveling with your mom and kind of?
Yeah, so with my mom and my dad, my mom loves to go to like exotic places that I guess you normally wouldn't go. You know, I don't know how to explain that, but we would we would go to kind of not exotic, but we would, I guess, like we went to the island of Palau one time, and famous World War II battle was there, and nothing is ever simple, right? So we went, and I know it sounds obnoxious that we went to this island where this went, but what we were there was we got to observe an excavation of part of the battlefield. So yes, it's beautiful that we're on an island and everything, but at the same time, I think it was 10,000 Marines gave their lives on that beach, you know. So it was stuff like that would always, we would travel, but it would always be to a point, right? Right.
Kind of educational in a sense.
Yeah, and it's actually, I to all the Marines that are listening, and especially to you, on the island of Peleliu, not Palau specifically, if you hike up the hill, I cannot remember the name for the life of me, and I'm sorry, at the top, that's a huge metal diamond, a Marine Corps diamond at the top. And I feel like, so we went back years and years later, just a few years before my father died, and we walked to the battlefield again. And when we went up there as a Marine, now, obviously I wasn't in the battle, but it was a lot more emotional seeing it, you know, and kind of in this jungle, this huge Marine Corps one diamond for the first Marine
in the middle
Division.
of nowhere.
Yeah, you know, for all these poor guys that, you know, come to this battle that was essentially pointless in World War II, you know? You know what I mean? So anyways, that's one example of kind of travel with him. But if you ever had a chance to not travel with John McCain, do it. That's it. Just if you could avoid getting on a plane with that man in any way, just go for it. Just absolutely miss the flight. Say you got drunk. It doesn't matter.
Oh man, hey, you know, you just said something. You got drunk. I see you drinking. I see you drinking a Guinness. you know, I picture Jimmy McCain probably owned a tuxedo. Probably by the time he was 6, 7, maybe even younger than that. I'm sure many dinners. You guys were, you know, you hosted probably parties and dinners, and you were guests. Do you remember those times? Do you remember all those like kind of what would you proper? Not proper. What's the word I'm looking for, Jimmy? Help me out. You're going to grab
just formal.
Formal. There you go. Formal.
Yeah. I do remember quite a bit, but it's always little bits and pieces that always like stick out to you. You know, good times and things like that. But yeah, it was always obviously. As much as I've downplayed my childhood, there's always a level of having to do something formal like that every once in a while. And, you know, I still to this day, as scruffy and shitty as I look, enjoy a nice suit and a nice martini. So
that's kind of where I was getting at, dude. Do you remember the first time that, you know, you're at one of those places? Because, you know, I mean, I could imagine it's not like a Mexican quinceañera, you know what I mean, where families are. You know what I mean? It's kind of more formal, but I could just see you like sneaking off into a corner and grabbing a martini and sitting down maybe at like 12 or 13. Do you remember that? Do you?
I mean, I'm not going to confirm nor deny that.
You're not going to throw anybody under the bus.
Yeah, of course I remember those times, you know, and sitting and enjoying a night like that, you know, but it was always kind of what was the most impactful was sometimes the company, right? Like, I got to meet John Glenn a long time ago. I think he was still a senator in Ohio, and I was very young. But I remember sitting at a dinner table with him, and he broke down just casually talking to everyone about what it was like to get chosen to become one of the Mercury 7. And it was an experience that, like, thanks, Chris. I was just remembering, you know, that was an experience that not a lot of people got to have. You know, that's also another one of those moments where it wasn't like a debauchery, getting drunk and puking on each other party. You sit with someone who changed the world. You know what
I mean, but you know, I picture just this elegant place, and you know what I mean, because I'll paint you a picture. Nothing in Arizona
is elegant, just so you know.
Well, growing up here, man, in South Texas, with the Mexican culture, you're gonna go out as an 8, 9-year-old, and you're gonna have a blast until you get tired. And your parents going to keep going. Your aunts and uncles are going to keep going. They're drinking, the music blaring, and you're going to end up sleeping between two chairs put together underneath the table with your dad's coat thrown on you as a blanket. Dude,
I feel like you're just explaining a scene from American Me.
I mean, anybody watching, any of my viewers watching, if you grew up here in anywhere, you grew up in the southern United States and you've been to a wedding or a quinceanera or something like that, I promise you, you go around the tables and look underneath you'll find kids all over the place falling asleep on chairs. But, so one of the questions, Jimmy, was who is the most famous person that you were excited to meet as a kid because of your dad?
That's a tough one.
You said John Glenn. I mean, that dude is
John Glenn always takes the cake for me, but I can say as a little kid, the most excited I ever was. A lot of people don't know this. My dad hosted SNL in 2000. He did. And this was the Jimmy Fallon, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler years, right? And I got to go to the premiere night. And I would say for a purely just ego, I wanted to meet all of them. And I got a chance to meet Will Ferrell, Tracy Morgan, one of the best, SNL crews ever with all of them when they were all young. And that was probably one of the most excited I ever was. Because you don't really realize how impactful that moment with John Glenn was going to be until I'm 30.
No, definitely. No. I mean,
12, you 100% think Tina Fey is awesome.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like you said, they were in their younger years. I mean, you didn't know they were just going to be these huge, huge
Jimmy Fallon was
actors.
still on Weekend Update. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no.
And Seth Meyers was there. Yeah, it was that whole year. I feel like was a good year. What's up, Gerald?
You know that guy?
I know.
He is he's a sniper instructor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was a sniper with 2.5 way back in the day. I call him the legend.
The greatest legend. You can tell Gerald this. My favorite sniper in the history of the Marine Corps is Lathel Weiss.
That's your favorite sniper?
I love that man. I talk to him 2 times a week. We never really split up. Like, I love that man.
That's awesome. He's listening, so I'm sure he'll comment on there.
Lathel. Tell that man I love him.
Jimmy, people on here have been commenting, like you're so down to earth. And it's kind of like what I said earlier, you know what I mean? I mean, to the outside world, I mean, you would think that somebody that came from your family, was kind of be nose up in the air and kind of like, hey, you're beneath me, whatever. And dude, that's what makes you like, honestly, bro, that's freaking an amazing trait that you carry. And your name is never out of the limelight, bro. Like, how does that feel as a son, as a brother, as not just your dad, but your mom, like, you're famous. I mean, that's no easier way to put, there's no other way to put it other than, you're famous in that sense. And I don't know what it's like. I'm sure my viewers don't know what it's like to probably be having dinner with your parents or your sisters and your brother. And, it's not like you guys can just get up and go to a public place and sit down and be, in Spanish, the word is a gusto, like, be at ease.
I've definitely in Spanish been borracho in a public place quite a bit.
No, but I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? I mean, is that how it was? Like, you guys would always, you get bothered all the time? I mean, going somewhere?
Sometimes. So, what is being bothered? I mean,
I'm just saying, like, for instance, if your dad says, "Hey, you know what, guys, get in the vehicle. We're gonna go have something to eat," and we're talking year 2004, 2005, 2006, 2000.
Even post 2008, all the time, especially with my father. Because one, even if you're angry, he was willing to talk to anyone. It didn't matter. You know what I mean? And anyone who walked up to him and said thank you, that's not a bad thing. And a lot of times with some people, they become so secular that they forget like how to live their lives. Does that make sense with
No,
families
no,
like that?
yeah, no, definitely.
So with especially my father, we would do it all the time. It was something. It was part of life. You go out with you can't. Your life choices can't hinder you. You know what I mean? So there's a very kind of great Mexican food restaurant on Indian School in Arizona called Teepee, and we would eat there like every Saturday.
That was a spot to go to.
It's terrible. It's god awful. I hate their Mexican food. It's like Tex-Mex if you added birdseed into it.
Easy.
No.
You said Tex-Mex. I'm gonna take offense.
Leave your Tex-Mex on your back window for 2 days, and then you're up to this place. So, but no, I mean,
Man.
The thing is, you got to be mentally strong, right? So everyone, if you're a Marine or if you're a soldier, an airman, or anything, the things we like used in the military, we can apply to our basic lives to make us better. And that's one of the huge things I took out of the Marine Corps was to take the mental toughness that they had given me and apply it to my personal life. And it made my life easier because you just don't let anything get to you. You know what I mean? And that applies to your question, going out to eat or spending some time with the family in a public place, even post 2008, which I would say 2009, 2010 was like the hardest time for him or any of us to leave the house, right? But you got to break that mold. You know what I mean?
No,
go for it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, shit, dude. I mean, look at us, going crazy, being in the house with this COVID. You know what I mean? And people were going nuts. I could just imagine. You guys want to go out and do stuff. It's just, I like to keep when I have people like you on, I really like asking questions that, when you go on to a news interview, like, hey, what's your next political thing? I like asking stuff that, it's like your normal everyday life. You know what I mean? Like you just get to know, it like you said, your dad tried to make it as normal as possible. So
I mean, it's always an experience. And I think that now that I'm a father, I can say what he did perfectly with me and my brother and my sisters was implying or getting points across about life without letting us know that that's what he was doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, got you. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I hear you, man. I mean, so did you ever go with your dad to work day? I mean, did you ever go?
Yeah.
You remember like walking in, to the sit-in
I
and
went
just
to his office in the Russell building, I believe, many times. It's intense. Those giant buildings are like mausoleums, like those are huge,
right.
But yeah, I mean, it was. I think the most impactful part of that was that the guy I knew was the guy I would go hiking with on the weekends, and we would talk about birds, right? Just so you know, the guy loved birds more than he loved anything. To the point.
Hey, we learned something new today. We learned something new.
The sound, like the sound. That's a yellow-billed wood duck. What? I didn't even hear anything. So that's the guy I knew. So when I would go to like his work in DC, for like what do we put it, it was really impactful for me to see what his daily life was and how intense that was for him. And then to know him personally is like this calm, nature-loving kind of guy.
Yeah, you see two sides to your dad. I mean, my picture of a senator or a congressman is like the door closes and they kick back in their chair, they put their feet on the desk and just wait for somebody to come in and sign this, sign that.
I can say that guy probably never kicked back once in his life. I mean, there's a little hamster inside that dude. You know what I mean? Like, so my great-grandfather, on my dad's side, he was a 3-star admiral during World War II. War ends. You walk into signing of the Missouri, he's right there. You got MacArthur, you got Nimitz, you got all these other guys, and you got him. Right? You got Bull Halsey, all that. He was one of those big guys, Task Force 30. He's like 70-something years old. Gets on a plane right after the signing of Missouri, flies all the way back, gets back to Coronado where he was stationed with his family, opens the door, says, "I love you," and has a heart attack and dies.
Are you serious?
Posthumously a 4-star admiral, right? And the point I bring that up is like, I feel like a lot of people in our family have a habit of working until the day they die.
I mean, it don't get no realer than that, dude. You work, come home and say I love you and pass away.
Well, it's about idealism. You know what drives you? You know, they always say that older folks, you know, they really start to fall apart when they don't have anything to do after they leave work. And,
Right.
You know, life gets stable. So it's like if you can find something that drives you, I've always looked at it that way. That'll drive you to the end. Well, put gas in that tank and keep it going. You know what I mean?
Hey, this is a question for my wife, so I definitely can't pass this one up because I won't hear the end of it. It says, Jimmy, now that you're a father, what would you tell your son if he told you he wanted to join and serve in the military?
I've thought about this a lot, actually.
So you're ready for it then?
Yeah, well, I'm not ready because, you know, becoming a United States Marine defined me in a lot of ways. I love the Marine Corps. I have, as much as I would whine and bitch like every other Lance Corporal in the history of the Marine Corps, I love the Marine Corps more than anything. But I would never force anyone into that life because I feel like, especially being a Marine, that has to be a decision that comes inside, or else you won't make it, right? Like it's just a different level, you know. And I'm not saying it's harder than the Army before everyone shits their pants and Navy SEALs. Okay, great, those guys are great. I'm talking about the Marine Corps, all right? Yeah. You know, and with that, like, if he wanted to enlist, it would have to be his decision. But I can honestly say, from now until he's 18 years old, I will never once have a conversation with him about the importance of dedication to country or anything like that. That's something you have to find inside you, inside yourself. You know what I mean? And if you did, my answer would be, God bless you, have fun, and San Diego sucks.
Hopefully San Diego's still around, dude. Have you seen, I mean, you've been reading articles where they want to get rid of the East Coast and West Coast and make one giant boot camp, which I kind of hope they don't.
I think it would be hard for me to accept that decision, and that's purely like heritage. Like so many Marines have gone through
its history. It's history. You know, that's like moving the White House or saying, hey, you know what, the president's not going to live in the White House anymore.
If you move MCRD away from the airport, how are privates and recruits supposed to lay in bed at night, listening to the planes, regretting the decision they made? All right?
I can jump this fence and I can call my mom. She can wire me some money. I'll be on a next plane out of here. I remember thinking that all the time. Like I can make it. I can make it across the fence.
Like looking out and just being like, "What did I do?" With the planes, you know, because by the way, the closest one to MCRD, if you don't know, is the Air Hawaii. It's the Hawaiian Airlines one.
Yeah.
So it's like that one's going to paradise. You are in hell. Stay there.
Definitely. It's like the meme where it says, "My son sent me his first letter from boot camp." Oh shit! And that was it. There was nothing else. So you know, Jimmy, you what I'm about to get to, it's gonna blow people's mind. And I only know this because I follow you. You got out of the Marine Corps, and I think the last time I talked to you, we had a good conversation. I think you were doing the Budweiser or the beer. You work in the beer business, weren't you?
Yeah, I was working for a distributor in Arizona.
Yeah,
aptly my mother owns.
So then, you know, you were doing that, and next thing I know, I'm looking at a picture. I'm like, wait, hold up, dude! This dude is wearing a freaking Army uniform. What in the hell is going on? Then I see pictures of you in the snow, and it's like, dude, really, what the hell is going on here? You know,
right? So I got out of the Corps, and I did 2 years at college at Texas A&M, College Station, Texas, and
you came to my state.
Yeah, man, I lived there for a while, and I just couldn't get my shit together, man. Like I just kind of was like a shithead. I was a GWAT vet who didn't know what the fuck he wanted to do with his life. Sorry to say the F word, and knew that college wasn't the answer at the time, and I was young, so I went back to Arizona, and I got a job, and I was working And I was like, I feel like there's more. And I was like, oh, join the National Guard. Join the National Guard. And I find out that there's actually a lot of opportunity because post 2012, there was a lot of National Guard being sent to Afghanistan because they could run the talks. I mean, but they were plenty of them on the front lines and everything like that. So I just signed up for the next deployment I could find, which was with the 262nd out of Oregon, and jumped on with them. Made some of the best friends I ever made in my life. Was in Kabul like a month later. Everything in my career is fast, fast, fast. You know what I mean?
You're not joking, dude. You're really that's a true statement. I mean, 2 days you join the Marine Corps, then you're looking for somebody to deploy, and you jump on, and now you're gone.
Just out of there, man, and lost a lot of weight because I got real fat in between. You know, I was like fat, right? Like,
Right.
so it's great to go to Kabul because it's really like lifetime fitness in Afghanistan, right? so I and I went to Afghanistan, and I spent a long time in the National Guard. Actually, I just got out last year. Like, I spent like
So
10
so
years
here's my
or something.
question: Did you wear that First Marine Division patch?
So I did every day, which is illegal.
It's
you have to be
illegal.
attached- Yeah, so to wear the First Marine in the Army, you have to have been an Army unit attached during Phantom Fury in Fallujah. That was the only time. But fuck them. so I would wear it all the time. And yeah, you know, they would like make you take it off all the time, but you know, whatever. You know.
No, I meant, I mean, I was in a joint unit for quite some time, and I had like 2 or 3 guys in my platoon that were former Marines, and they joined the Army. And I mean, back then, before the McMat belts, you know, we used to wear our web belts, and these soldiers would walk around and be like, dude, I used to be a Marine. I'm like, man, get out of here. And they would pick up their blouse. I'm like, dude, what are you showing me here? And they'd be wearing their khaki web belt, dude. They were nuts.
Something that never leaves you, you know, and it's intense because you know you're in another service.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I got a lot of shit. I'll tell you, I got a lot of shit because at my father's funeral, on my dress uniform, I was wearing my diamond instead of the unit I deployed with on my chest. That's where it goes on your dress uniform.
Uh-huh.
And I was just getting shredded after that because you're not allowed to.
Dude, and that's not like you're showing up to, you know, your uncle to my viewers, and that's showing up to like Uncle Pablo's funeral. You know what I mean? I mean, you're talking about a funeral that probably has about 1 million cameras all the way around this place, and you know, you have military buffs that just they live for stuff like this. Like, I mean, they're like, look at this guy, his stuff is all off, blah blah, just ready to knock you.
When you add in that, like, I was long days, add in alcohol, so wearing the same uniform for like a week. I think I threw it away.
Just hang it up there. I'll put it on tomorrow. It's no big deal.
Right. You know what I mean? Well, the person who feel really bad for is my brother, because he had those Navy chokers the whole time. Oh, it was hot.
Well, you better be glad you weren't wearing the dress blues then. You would have been in the same boat.
Oh, that's why I got out.
The choker. Hey, Jimmy. So we're going totally a 90-degree, and this is because again, I don't want to forget the person's comment. Somebody asked, how's Jimmy and Megan's relationship? Your sister, like, you know, you being in Dublin or your personal relationship. How's that with your sister?
She's great. She just had a baby. She's got a little girl. I love my sister. I'm very close with everyone in my family. I could, you know, in a lot of ways, I'm like the center of everyone. I'm really chatty. I never shut up. So I love to call my family and talk with everyone. Right. But I have a great relationship with my sister. She's good. I know she's hurting. You know, she just had a baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were talking Saturday for quite a while, but you know, my sister is a very, very, very strong person, and she knows how to get her point across. And she's, fortunately for her, made a career out of it. You know, and in a lot of ways, I respect her because name a personality trait that a lot of people have that they've been able to build a career around. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, we're talking offline, bro, and you brought up something that just like this whole time we were talking, this has been in the back of my head. Like, you are absolutely right. I mean, that is definitely a a profession where either people like you or they don't like you. Like, there's no like, I like her sometimes. No, it's kind of like, I hate your sister or I love your sister.
I only run into two kinds of people, and everyone is entitled to hate or love her.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, and she know. I mean, being in that profession, she has to know that's what comes. That's what comes with the territory, But you said that you're the center of the family, and I could definitely see that. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like if you say, hey, I want to throw a Halloween party, or you're gonna throw something, everybody's gonna go out their way to make your party and make sure that they're there. So, how do I put it? Everybody spread out, like all your family is pretty spread out everywhere.
Yes. So my brother splits his time right now with his job between Maryland and Arizona. My little sister, who's the love of my life, by the way, she lives in Arizona also. My sister lives in the East Village in New York, my older sister. And then my mom lives in Phoenix also, but she kind of splits her time around Arizona. So we are very spread out. I'm obviously in Dublin now. You know what I mean? So
Definitely.
We are very spread out, but communication is the key to any relationship.
Dude, I'm talking you're in Dublin, Ireland, and it looks like you're in the other room. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just crazy technology. Right. I used to tell the Marines that all the time. Like, I see them FaceTiming their wives or whatever. I'm like, dude, our shit was pen and paper, bro. You wait your days.
Do you remember Moto Mail?
Moto Mail, yeah, something. I never used it because I was a communication guy, so I always had email access. But my grunts, man, I definitely I would feel for y'all. I mean, one thing that I always did is
print off the Moto Mail, right? Just about Moto Mail, something that always got to me. And this is like 15 years ago, right? Someone had to print it off, right? And then they would have to
somebody had to.
They would bring it out, right? And then I was talking to a guy one time, and I go, Who read this? He goes, no, it's sealed. And I was like, you sealed it. You guys are reading my mail.
Those are my data Marines. Take it easy, Jimmy. Those are my data Marines. That was the night crew. They had to stay up and print all these things out and make sure.
Had bad respect to anyone, though, in Iraq, because that heat in the summer, the rest of my life, I'll never forget, like, stepping out. I remember when I had my first tour, they had just given those MTVs, the most god-awful thing that had ever been given to the Marine Corps. It didn't sit on your hips. Yeah. Right? It wasn't like the IBA. It was the one that, like, went up here.
Got you.
And I remember just, like, stepping out and just being like, God, it's hot.
No, it definitely sucked. I was going to say, like, being when I was a senior staff NCO, of course, and I always had a Iridium with me. I always had a sat phone with me. And that's one thing that I kind of did. Like, I would just kind of like observe the situation and kind of just talk to the Marines and see, maybe who's married and who's, maybe somebody's having an issue at home. Just I would listen to the Marines, you know what I mean? Be there for a while and just kind of observe. And then, if I saw a Marine having a hard time, I'd be like, hey, come here, devil dog. And I would give him that sat phone. I'd be like, you go around that corner over there and you talk on that son of a gun until the battery runs out.
Exact opposite in our platoon. We got one sat phone for like the last 4 months, right? And if you were having trouble with your wife, you're not going to get the sat phone. You're going to get mad. You're going to break it.
You're going to break it all, definitely.
You can deal with it when you get home. We only got one.
No, definitely. But no, it was it's just one of those things. I mean, those are the little things that people, kind of those are the little perks of living here in the United States or being deployed, not having access to speaking to your loved ones and stuff. But going back to you being the center of your family, like I really could see that, dude. I could really see that you're the center of stuff. I mean, I remember, when we had to attend the funeral, you know what I mean? And I ran into you. I mean, dude, yeah, I mean, you were the center there. I mean, we were having a great dinner, and it was sad, but at the same time, you guys made the best of it. You know what I mean? So I definitely could see you, being the center of your family. What's your plans, dude? As far now, I'm gonna sound like a news a news place. What's your plans, dude? After you graduate, you want to be when you say a teacher?
Yeah, hopefully a professor. If I can, obviously, it's not given to anyone. But to write, just read and teach. At least for a while, it's something I enjoy. I've been able to at least flesh out my life enough to find a career that I think I'm going to enjoy. I'm obviously not in it yet. But continue to give my thoughts on the world that no one asked for.
Jimmy, I have a daughter in college, and I the other day she came home. She had a doctor's appointment or something, so she was doing her course online, and I was just kind of like in the living room, but just kind of like listening to her class.
Yeah, the Zoom university.
Yeah, the Zoom meetings and stuff, and I'm just like, I'm listening to this guy talk, and then I walk up and look at him, and I'm behind the computer like, you listen to this fool? This dude's stupid as hell. You just listen to what he was saying. Are you ready for that, dude? Are you? Because look, I'm gonna paint you a picture. You're a war vet. You've been in two of what we consider the ground services, right? You're a son of a great senator. You're gonna be educated. You're mixing all that shit together, dude, and then you're gonna stand in front of a room of 18 to 22, 23-year-old kids who don't have the slightest clue in the world, whatever subject you decide to be a professor about. But are you ready for? I mean, I couldn't do it, dude. I've sat in a high school classroom since I've gotten out. I've sat in a middle school classroom, dude. I could just imagine a college classroom because, now I'm at a high school, I don't have a principal. I don't have dude, I couldn't, I don't know, bro. Can you do it? Do you think that's something that you're going to be able to be like?
Yeah. I mean, in round robins to what we were talking about earlier, you have to find an ideal that drives you, right? And those people, for better or for worse, are the future of our country, and if you can make an impression or an impact on any of them in their time that they spend with you, you've done something right. You know what I mean? And at least for right now, that's the way I look at it, is that there's a future, and I could help guide it in some ways, and bring these young people to the forefront. I mean, that's what college is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a time to gain knowledge and figure out who you are and et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? So.
No, definitely. That's my aunt. My aunt and uncle are both teachers, and their son is also a teacher as well. And that's definitely it's definitely a calling, dude. Because I mean, just technology, dude. Like I sat in the classroom, and the teacher's like, "Hey, can you two gentlemen face forward and pay attention, please?" And they're sitting there on their phones. Right. Yeah. I mean, just like looking at the phone, and I'm in the back of the classroom, like literally right behind them. And I'm just like, "Hey guys, your teacher just said turn around," and they looked at me like, "Bro, who the hell are you? You ain't no teacher." And continued doing the
with academia now, I do have an opinion on that, and it's very sophomoric, so take it for a grain of salt or a grain of rice, whatever. But you can't fight against the influence technology has on our younger generation. And if someone, you're a guide, right? We're not drill instructors, is the way I look at teaching. And if someone is going to guide someone and they want to refuse it, that's fine, and that's the way. You fail, you're paying, especially in a collegiate atmosphere, you're paying astronomical amounts of money.
Right.
So my look at it, and obviously there's a lot more goes into it. I've had plenty of conversations with professors about like you get fired if too many people fail and everything like that. And that's, I understand. But I'm saying from a very sophomore point of view, fighting the technological influence that people have in their daily lives is almost, it's terrible because you can't compete with it. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
this
I agree
thing
with you.
is with you 24 hours a day, and I got you for 45 minutes. You know what I mean? So,
Dude, I mean, it definitely takes, it does take a breed of person. Like, just the Marine in me, like, literally, I would be the teacher that flips that. Like, I probably wouldn't last 2 or 3 days. In a high school, 2 3 days tops, max.
well,
I would have flipped the desk, you know.
that's the exact reason why I'm continuing my education, because I don't think I could last in high school either.
Let's see some of the questions here. Oh, we got a shout out from Okinawa. You got people watching from Japan, so you're not the only one. Well, I guess over there it's already in the morning. It's already in the morning
Is he
over
still
there.
in lockdown for no reason for years on end? Has the base ever been opened again?
And Oki, I don't know. Hey Jay, if you're listening, we want to know if the bases are open or are the Marines still on lockdown per camp.
Are you stuck in that shitty O club that everyone, or that shitty E club that everyone just gets blasted in?
The Palms.
Of course you know it.
Oh man, this is my wife clowning me. I'd be a perfect wood shop teacher. I don't know a damn thing about a nail and a piece of wood. Or no, that's not. It's a Padilla. I thought that was my wife.
I feel like you'd be a great PE teacher. Like if you were going to be a teacher, like you're just thrashing bodies anyways, and you're really good at it. So
I got you. Hey, going straight from comedy to a real question. If you're ready for this.
I'm ready.
There it is right there. How does Jimmy feel about, quotation, free college for these kids out of high school?
Like, I guess like government funded is, I'm assuming, what he's asking.
Yeah.
So I have free college. I joined the military and I received free college. There is an avenue to free college in the United States. It's well known and it's available to anyone, including for a lot of people who, who can make it. But that being said, I do have a problem with the cost of most American universities continuing to rise at an astronomical level year by year by year that is now becoming unsustainable. If I'm going to pay $120,000 to become an engineer when the only job I can get is making $15 to $20 an hour, that's outrageous. Sees a market.
Right.
I
No,
can't
no.
sell
What
you a beer for $500. It's going to give you a buzz for 4 seconds. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no.
so I think it's an extremely, extremely complicated question. I don't know enough to back or deny a government-funded free college for everyone out of high school. Okay?
This one I think is asked the guy who asked. He actually works in the school system. I think here in San Antonio they have like college. It's called the Alamo Promise, and the Alamo colleges, which are the local colleges here. What do they call them? Not a university, but
Community college?
Community college. There you go. They if a kid graduates and keeps his grades are above a level and they're from a low income, they're like, hey, you want to continue your education? No excuse. Show up, and we're not talking about like free education to Stanford or Harvard or So
I mean, with an avenue like that, it's something that I think is amazing. First of all, anyone who proves themselves in an academic atmosphere should be cultivated and grown. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But I guess I don't know enough to give 100% of an opinion, except for the fact that if the cost of a university continues to rise the way it has been over the last 10 to 20 years, and I guess the payout to a bachelor's degree does not, that has to be adjusted. I mean, everyone can agree that to get a bachelor's degree, which is the 2020 high school diploma, paying $80,000 is too much, and that's too astronomical. And
You know what I see a lot, Jimmy?
you have a choice. One last point: you have a choice as a young person now. Are you going to own a home, or are you going to get a bachelor's degree? Because either one's going to put you in the exact same amount of debt, essentially.
Wow, I've had nobody ever. I mean, nobody's ever kind of broken down like that. But I mean, you're right. You owning a home and getting a bachelor's degree. You know, here locally, here in San Antonio area, what I like, I've been to a many graduations since I've lived here. A lot of these kids graduate with an associate's degree. You know, they're taking extra classes during high school instead of having that downtime and you only need so many credits. These guys are like, you know what, I'm here, I might as well, I'm in school, I'm taking these classes, boom, boom, boom. And these guys graduate, when they graduate high school with a diploma, they're also graduating with an associate's degree. So that's some little things that, you know, I think that feeds into that whole Alamo promise and stuff
Well, it's
like
also
that.
a great way to curb that problem.
Yeah.
Right. So like $80,000 is for a 4-year degree. If you've already graduated with an associate's, you can cut that in half. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I mean, if you're talking about the prices of these universities going up, I mean,
But the base problem of what I just said is you're asking a 15-year-old to make that decision. I mean, think about that. You know, that's the problem, is this pressure on these young people. You know what I mean? Like, that's what kills me. When I was 15, I liked Dungeons and Dragons. I liked reading books and playing GameCube. Right? If somebody came to me and said,
That was your
"Get an
life."
associates so you can cut the price in half for your parents to get a bachelor so you get a better job," I'd be like, what? It's astronomical.
You're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. You know, I tell people all the time, like, I didn't go to college. You know, nobody in my family really. My uncle, that's a teacher, I think he had gone to college and he kind of, you know, he got married and him and his wife, they worked their way through college and they got their degrees, but never had like somebody just like straight like university and kind of showed me the way. But dude, let me tell you, my daughter Jasmine, we went to her senior, like where they have like a college prep, like bring your parents and kind of talk about, dude,
Where you want to go, kind of thing.
yeah, like I didn't know what anxiety was, but I promise you, when I left there, I figured out real quick what anxiety was. Like, I mean, my head was just so blown with the money, the amount of money. Like they were showing these slides with these money signs and all this, and I was just like, yo, like people, this shit's real. Like I've always said, my kids, they'll find a way.
Yeah.
They'll find a way. If they want to go to school, they'll find a way, blah, 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 blah. But when you sit down and saw these figures, I was like, what? You have to put a deposit for somewhere to live. And you got to pay for every application fee is, $100 for some families, $100.
Or whatever. Yeah.
You know, and you're going to fill 5, 6, 7 of these out. And then the college can say, hey, well, you know what? We're going to take you. But you got to put a deposit for your place you're going to stay. It's a minimum of $750. And we don't know if you're going to get it or not. You know, and it's non-refundable.
Think about a single income family in El Paso, Texas. And so by that $75 per application right there, you have like strangled them, right? So instead of doing 16 applications to 10 schools that could be viable and 6 long shots, right? You have 3 because that's what you can afford, or 1, you know what I mean? And that's the problem. I mean, I've had a personal problem with paying to apply to get rejected for a long time.
And not getting a refund.
You know, no refund, no nothing. You know what I mean? So I got rejected a ton of places before I got there. And I would get mad. Like, I would get mad. I paid, $100, $150, whatever, to just send you a couple pieces of paper.
Oh, and God forbid you don't have like the proper forms to send your transcripts and the school doesn't, man, it's a lot, dude. So for my viewers watching, if you don't have any family or any kids in college, be ready. Be ready, because you have no idea what you got coming from. But we're starting to become pros. You know, as our kids are going to college, I know what the FAFSA is. I know what, this is or that is. You know what I mean? I'll tell you what, though. I visited my daughter's dorm room. She goes to Texas State here in San Marcos. bro, there's some barracks rooms in the Marine Corps. I mean, there's some that are fancy, but my daughter's she's very humble in a sense where she's like, Dad, I want to pay the cheapest. I want to pocket as much as I can. Like I don't want to, it's just for me, somewhere for me to lay my head. I'm going to be studying, so it doesn't matter. So I told her, I walked in, we helped her move in her stuff, and it was during COVID, dude. So it was like, we get there and the people are like, you got 15 minutes start time now to move all your kids' stuff in there. Like you literally just put everything. It wasn't like you set it up, and we ended up doing that anyway. But it didn't impress me. Like I was not impressed with the and maybe it was just that dorm because colleges, they have different dorms. But she made the best of it, dude. I mean, she loves it there. She's going to school, she's 17. So she said, Dad, I went and signed up for the gym, and they wouldn't let me because I don't have a parental thing. She's a freshman in college at the age of 17, so there's a lot of things that she can't do. But shout out to my daughter Jackie if she's watching. We're real proud of her. My son he was a sniper in the Marine Corps. He just got out. He did 4 years. He got out.
I saw on your Facebook.
He got out on a Friday and he was in school on Monday. Like literally, like what I mean. Stick to the plan, bro. So
Well, school for veterans is my favorite thing. Right. So like one, it's free. Right. Just free. So just do it anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Two, we've already gone through the hardest like training and everything in the world. School is not that hard. You got one assignment a week, maybe two. It takes a couple hours. It's the best time of my life personally was always going to school because I really enjoyed it. And any vet who's thinking about it, just do it. It's no sweat off your back. You're not paying it.
Jimmy, maybe you can say this. I always have people tell me that, for instance, like you went to college, you tried it the younger, when you got out of the Marine Corps and you weren't ready for it, and you went to the Army, and now you're in college, you're enjoying it. But somebody tells me that it's kind of easier as you're older, and in my head I'm like, dude, if I was to try to go to school right now, dude, I couldn't remember algebra, you know what I mean? Like those things are
it is
over my head, but they said it just comes back to you. Like it's just.
So, and it's also like, you got to remember, like with colleges, it's a specialty, right? So if you don't have to take algebra, you take, like for me, I'm a history guy. I had to take one math class my whole college career so far. It's been like 100 years, right? And that's like, cause they have these requirements. So it's great with college because you can just study what you want. You know what I mean? What interests you. Like if you put a psychology course in front of me, I'm going to get a D, right? Or a math course, I'm going to get a D. But you put a history course in front of me, I'll get an A because I like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's something that that gets you going.
It's about education, but educate yourselves.
There you go. So before I get into my last question, Jimmy, I always ask my guests, if you were to talk one-on-one with a 15 to 28-year-old in today's world, what would be, if there was one message in the country that we're living in now and the way the world is with everything going on, what would be a message you'd want to really instill in them?
Two. One, never listen to the white noise in the background because it doesn't make a difference anyways. And that applies to life, social media, whatever. I get shit talked 24 hours a day on every kind of everything. Don't listen. It doesn't matter. Social media is free therapy for people who are unhappy. All right. And two, some of the most boring people I ever met knew what they wanted to do at 20. And some of the coolest motherfuckers I know still don't know what they want to do at 40. It doesn't matter.
Dude, that's powerful right there. It makes so much sense. I mean, it makes perfect sense.
It's just a journey, man. We're on a journey, like, not to sound all like hippie and shit, but like, dude, we're all just trying to figure this shit out.
Yeah, no, I hear you. You brought up, people are always on you, just for your last name. If anything, just for your last name. I mean,
well, people, especially just right now, it's sensitive to me because we're in a sensitive time in American history. People are very fired up, and they're ready to lash out in any way they can. And that's fine. The point of this country is that you can do that. Also, the point of this country is I don't have to listen to you.
Dude, I say that every day. You know, somebody, my buddy AJ Simon, old running back from the Kentucky Wildcats. Shout out to AJ. He sent me something on Facebook today, and I usually if something's like longer than 3 minutes, bro, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna hit it and be like, nah, hell no, I ain't got time for this.
I'll check how long it is. Like, say it's 7 minutes long. Then I'll check in 7 minutes, and I'll text back, cool video, bro, and I haven't watched it at all.
No, you know, so I'll be. This is my show. I do that sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, just, you know, you don't want to make somebody feel bad. They sent the time to send you something. But dude, he sent me this, and it gravitated. Like, it wouldn't let me. I couldn't find myself to click off. And it was something simple. It was a guy named Ted who came, African American gentleman who he said something, I think, on the internet, and he blew, like, he literally overnight, it just, people shared it and it blew up, and then he just became this sensation overnight. He woke up and he thought he had done something wrong. The message was, you know, in the world that we live in today, and I promise you that we wouldn't get deep into politics. It's not really deep into politics, but I really listened to the guy, and it's like, dude, if we would just listen more, and instead of throwing up our wall and being like, I'm right and you're wrong, right? That's kind of the world that we live in right now. Like, whatever I say is the way it should be. Whatever you say, you don't know what you're talking about. And then the other side of the fence, they say they think the same thing. You know what I mean? What they're saying is right, and you don't really have the middle person. And I wanted to tell you this before I got you off the show here, is that, to me, your dad was, I'm not going to say the last of a dying breed, because there is still people out there. I think he had that. I always consider the whole political thing like a seesaw. You know what I mean? And you got the seesaw, and, you know, the right wants to be all the way up in the, or they want to be on the ground, and the left, they want to put the left in the air. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, left, you know? Yeah. But to make the country run, you have to have somebody holding it level for it to run right. And I always saw your father in that sense. He was the man that was willing to go on the other side of the seesaw to grab some people to pull them to the middle. You know what I mean? And say, hey, it's okay. Like, you know, we don't always have to be right. You know what I'm saying? You can agree to disagree, and kept that seesaw level.
In America, I mean, to your point, like, in America, we have a certain mentality that almost like the word negotiation is a 4-letter word, right? Negotiation is how governments are supposed to run. You're supposed to, you know, it's like if you were in business, right? You say, I want $10. They say, I'll give you $5, and then you meet at $8, right?
Yeah.
And we've almost, I feel sometimes, this is a personal feeling, that we've run into a time where it's all or nothing. And I feel in a lot of ways that stems from a very fatalistic attitude we have as Americans now. That if my side, my idea, my thought is not 100% completed, everything will fall apart. And if I was going to leave everyone watching with one thing, this country is not going to fall apart, no matter what. All right, we're an amazing country full of amazing people, and this fatalistic attitude of, if I don't get it all, will be nothing, is incorrect. We will be fine.
No, I mean,
and that's kind of the thing that I keep running into with, especially in personal conversations, is people say, well, if this happens, it's not going to fucking change anything. We have three parts of government. Each one checks the other.
I mean, but, you know, and Jimmy, you say that, and you know, I completely understand what you're saying, but you have to be realistic, man, that there's people out there that don't don't remember that. Like they don't remember that in government class. They don't remember that. You know what I mean? They just think that somebody in power and they whatever they say is going to go. Like they just a common. And I don't want to say our country is dumb. That's not what I mean. I'm just saying like just a common everyday person. They forget about the checks and balances. You know what I mean?
Well, the fact that we're not, that goes back to the start of the whole thing. Is politics is not hereditary. The president is not a monarchy. We will find a way, and we will find a way as a people. We'll find a way as whether it's a race that you chose, whatever. We'll find a way, and as long as we continue to work for the better, it's gonna get better. You know, but if you work for the bad, like for it to get worse, it'll get worse. But either way, the country's not going anywhere.
No, dude, I agree with you, 100%. I wanted to also tell you, man, before I let you go here is today, I don't know why, it's the whole algorithm thing and stuff like that, but I saw an old video, dude, of your father, and it was during 2008. And he was running for president, and he was in New York at the Al Smith, maybe that's what it's.
Al Franken, maybe.
Al Franken, no. One of those things. It's run by the Archdiocese of New York, and they have all these, it's mostly Democratic, and Barack Obama was there, and your dad was there, and they introduced your dad, and dude. His words, he was 2 weeks away from the presidential election, and both candidates were sitting right next to each other. And he got up and spoke, and I'm sure you know what speech I'm talking about. When he got up and spoke and said, he admired Barack in a sense of how he had come to become, the Democratic Party nominee, and just the respect that he had from him, regardless that they were on two different sides, they're literally running against each other. In 2 weeks, the country was going to vote who was going to win. And dude, the comedy, just like you, like his charismatic way of talking, just grab it. Barack had that. Like, when he talks, the dude, his just way of talking was just ridiculous. But your dad was talking, and me and my wife both sat there and watched it, and we kind of looked at each other. And when we were done, and then Barack came on and he talked, and they ribbed each other a little bit, but in a professional, comedy, but kept it professional the whole time, dude. And my question to my wife was like, do you think that could happen right now? Do you think you could have a dinner with the two nominees sit next to each other and this happening? And I was like, no way. There's no way, man.
Maybe not during this election, but we will. That'll come back. It'll come back. Like the key to America is hope, right? Like hope and prayer and love and and things like that. It's just we live in an astronomically amazing country. We'll figure this out.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you 100%. I've had that conversation with my wife. Like, either way this falls, you know what I mean? I think it's a time in history where you're going to see the most votes you've ever seen in your. This is going to be the biggest election.
Oh, and I do want to make a point real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
You're good.
Pre-Civil War, all right. Like everyone, I have people all the time that say this is the most violent and intense America's ever been. It's not at all.
Do it again. Do the voice again. Do it again.
It's just the most violent and intense America. It's always kind of an asshole old guy yelling in my face. But it's pre-Civil War. These two senators knew each other. And I can't remember the name for the life of me, but it's called the caning on the Senate floor. One guy made fun of another guy. The guy went and got his cane, and he beat that dude almost to death right there on the Senate floor. And about 2 years later, 900,000 Americans died shooting each other. All right? This is not the most violent. This is not the worst America's ever been. and we came out of that. All right, there's always going to be light. Right?
No, I, I think that, just, we brought it up earlier, the patriotic, the whole patriotic thing and thing. It hurts me now. I was watching another show where it's like, man, it's like almost he's somebody patriotic, and it's like, oh, that he's a Trumpster. And dude, I mean, we're Americans. Like, that's our flag. You know what I mean? Like, I get the Trump 2020 and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But just the American flag and just the whole patriotic thing, I really hope that it comes back. I want to let you go, dude. I have a million questions for you, but I know it's in the middle of the night and you got class tomorrow. But
just Latin.
Just Latin. Jimmy, do you get a lot of people call you, man, and they news agencies, newspapers, people find a way to get a hold of you and like, hey, who are you gonna what's the word? Who are you putting your name on? Like, are you voting Republican, you voting Democrat? Do news people reach out for you? I mean, just because of your last name?
I'm a pretty private person. So no, not a lot of people call me about that. I don't think they would know how to get a hold of me. But I do think that one person keeping their political opinion to themselves in 2020 is the greatest form of privacy. The outside propaganda, influence, whatever you want to say, from everyone, it's not based towards anyone, is so intense that, in a way I look at it, is that my little protest is to never give my opinion. Because you have so many, as an average American, the average American has so many influences on them asking what their political opinion is, that I had to be the asshole Lance Corporal. Be like, you don't deserve my opinion.
Give him the Lance Corporal answer. I don't know. I don't know. Dude, that is I had that question down here, and it's like you hit it on the nail. You're right. I mean, that's the absolute way. Having your own privacy, I mean, it's kind of like, you're not going to get that from me. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I'm going to vote the way I'm going to vote.
Social media, the news, to whatever. That's all. What is it? Who are you voting for? Who are you voting for? The polling, everything. I'm sick of getting hassled.
Yeah, no. I mean, I just imagine, like, I mean, your sister's in the public eye every day. You know what I mean? And people, she does not hold back her tongue whatsoever. I mean, people know what side of the, where she stands. And your mom, I think your mom's, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes it's like you just said, like, they're kind of pushed into like, hey, can you come out and say this? Because we really need you to,
Yeah.
But you got to look at it like this, devil's advocate, Jimmy. They're people that people look up to.
100%.
And it makes
I don't think I'm one of those people.
well, I mean, you don't know. I mean, you're a very intelligent, educated guy. You know what I mean?
But I feel like in that protest, to double back on you, is that protest then is to force that person who would look to me for their direction to figure it out on their own. I mean, you shouldn't have to look that way. You should find inside yourself and how you believe that this country, whatever direction this country is going to take, then you can figure it out. You're an educated person.
No.
The proverbial American that I'm speaking to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. I mean, I'm lately, 6 months ago, between me and you, and I like to keep my shows like it's just me and you having a conversation. 6 months ago, dude, you couldn't. I if you just said anything with the president's name, I was just like, I don't want to hear it. I don't even want to entertain you. I don't want to. But lately, man, I've and with the video that I watched today, just kind of it hit me. It says the guy was saying you got to change your what's the word? Algorithm, the algorithm, right? You have to change that because when you go on social media and stuff, and again, normal walking people don't know this. the stuff you search, the way you feel, and it knows, and it gives you that stuff, and it keeps feeding you that. It feeds you that fuel. And sometimes you got to take that out, and you got to change that in yourself. Mm-hmm. So instead of just being one way, you have to open and broaden your mind and go ahead and accept, what not accept, but listen to other people and listen to the reason why they believe that way. And I think if we did that more, our country would be such a great great place.
And I feel like to add to that, like I lived most of my life in an incredibly conservative state, and I have chosen an incredibly liberal profession. And I feel like the best thing that has come out of it is that I can listen to both sides, and everyone is entitled to their opinion. You know what I mean? And that's the best part. Whether you're the most left human being or the most right in the world, I've had to sit with both, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. I mean, and that's what I enjoy the most, to be honest. A moderate isn't fun to talk to.
No, I mean, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, somebody put on here, surround yourself with positive people, man. And you just you can't let politics get in the way of friendships, and this lately, dude, it's been crazy. And like having you on, it's like people are hitting me up as soon as I put up that it was, you were coming on here. People are hitting me up like, "Yo, bro, like right before the election, like this is big." Like I'm like, "No, bro, this is just it just literally. I mean, it just happened like that." I asked you over a month ago. You were going through something. Somebody just passed away in your family, right? And
yeah, my wife's father, God bless him. He was an old Marine. He was a good dude.
Hardcore Marine.
Yeah, he dropped into Da Nang on the day the Tet started. He was a cool guy.
I bet he loved you, dude. That you're a Marine. Marines love Marines, man.
It was fun to hang out with him. Dude could chug beer faster than I could pour it.
Well, Jimmy, dude, honestly, man, I asked you the question, about what you would say. I mean, all your answers have been just great, dude. I could not thank you more for getting up in the middle of the night, and you're in Dublin, Ireland, and giving me 2 hours of your time, which is supposed to be an hour. We start getting into 2 hours. Dude, it's amazing what your last name, and you carry your last name, and I'm sure you're reminded of that every day. And I want to tell you, thank you for your service, brother. Thank you for for continuing your education so you can give back. In a sense, you're giving back. You're giving back to our youth. And I can't say enough about it. Your father was a great man, great man in the eyes of many. I mean, down here, I have conversations all the time, and it really hits me. I really just enjoyed listening to any time that he would speak. You know what I mean? And I think you're making him proud. You're making him proud.
Thanks,
even if you're not going into the whole political scene, you know what I mean? You're doing what you love. You're a family man. You're a father, and you're gonna be great at it, dude. Thanks, Thank you for being so humble, dude. I mean, I'm just a little small Mexican kid down here in South Texas. Yeah, I did 20 years in the Marine Corps, but you call people and they're like, man, and it's crazy because people's like, yeah, dude, I'll do it, and I'm like, really? Cool, man. You know what I mean? And so for my viewers, dude, just thank you, brother. Thank you for giving us your 2 hours of your time. We wish you nothing but the best from my family. Your family's always in our prayers, and dude, continue to do great things, bro. Continue to be that Jedi, right? Because now you have your kid looking up to you. You know what I mean? You got to make the right decisions. You can't make the 21-year-old Lance Corporal answers aren't going to cut it with the right. Kid. You know what I mean?
Well, I appreciate it, man, and more than anything, appreciate you having me on, man. First, I haven't seen you in a while. Last time was over some rough circumstances, but
yeah, definitely.
It's been great seeing you, dude. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad that this is doing well for you. I mean, I want this to go far. You're a great interviewer, man. You know what I mean? Because some people, when you sit down with them, Jesus
Hey man,
Christ, I'd rather.
I didn't go to school for this. I just kind of this is what I always say: shoot from the hip. And people are like, shoot from the hip. What the hell are you talking
Right.
about? Like that's not my lingo, bro.
Sometimes
But
you sit down and somebody's like, it's like when Sean Penn got to talk to El Chapo that one time. You want to talk about
Yeah.
the worst interview ever? And he said to El Chapo, "You got the greatest drug lord in history. He's a mass murderer. He's on the run from the U.S. government. Sean Penn gets on the hook with him. I mean, it's the most." And you know what he said to him? "Do you dream, El Chapo? Get the fuck out of here." You want to talk about a bad interviewer?
Oh, dude, I'm learning as I go, bro. I'm definitely learning as I go. But dude, it was a great time having you on. And again, thank you from the bottom of thank you from my family to your family. I got your number. We'll stay in touch whenever you're down here in San Antonio. We'll definitely grab a cold one and grab
I love
something
San
to eat.
Antonio.
And
I barfed on the Riverwalk quite a few times.
the old river walk never
I
seems.
love the Riverwalk.
The Green Creek. The Green Creek.
Get a little taxi.
No, definitely. But Jimmy, thank you, man,
appreciate it,
and we wish you
Much love,
nothing but the best, brother. And take care of yourself over there. Don't drink too much Guinness, and we'll talk to you soon, bro.
See you soon, brother.
All right, man. Later.
Bye.
All right, guys. That was Mr. Jimmy McCain, man. What an honor to have him on the show this evening. It blows my mind that we were able to get him, and to know that he's in Dublin, Ireland right now. Like literally, it's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning over there, and he's up, giving me his undivided attention, and it's just something really cool. Shout out to before I forget, I forgot last week. Shout out to my mother-in-law, to Thelma there in Ruskin, Florida. Thelma, we love you. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, dude. I know when a lot of people saw the McCain, like I was telling him, people were messaging me right away, like, "Oh, dude, you're gonna get into politics," and I said, "No, it's not what I'm about." You know what I mean? And kind of stay in the middle and just talk about their lives growing up and what it was like being the son of a senator. And like he said, man, he made it so simple. John made his family's life try to be as normal as possible, and that was great to hear. Dude, thank you guys for tuning in every Wednesday. I know you could be watching the World Series, you could be doing all sorts of other things, but thanks for tuning in. And those of you that were tuning in for the first time on Jimmy's behalf or whatnot, hey, I do these shows every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. On here right now, I need help with this. I really do. So you guys need to share these videos. Share my YouTube page. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you haven't already, it's easy. Go on your YouTube, type in Bumper Gomez, and you'll see all the Wacky Wednesdays come up. And hit subscribe, hit like, and I could really use the subscriptions. The more you subscribe, once I get to 1,000, I can make this show, take it out of Facebook and kind of make it more broader and get it onto YouTube. So, and if you've never tuned in, tune in, man. You might get something every week. Is something different. I always got somebody going on. I mean, it just so happens, I've had people from Ezekiel Elliott's mom to lawyers, great historians of our history here in South Texas. Just all kinds of different stuff, and I really love doing it. Shout out to my viewers that are always watching. Dude, you can really tell in the beginning of today I was really nervous. Like, so many things are going through my head, and I was just trying to get it off. So thank y'all for bearing with me and hanging out with me. I look forward to doing more of these. And if you guys want to be on the show, hit me up, dude. Call me, message me, whatever. Let me know, and I'll get you on here. Or if you have a subject, like I've had people hit me up like, "Hey, Bumper, talk about this. This is something people don't like talking about." And I like to bring things that people don't like to talk about, to be honest with you. Like, why not push the envelope and bring talk about things that people don't, that you get uncomfortable about. I'm okay with that. I mean, well, shit, I've given my story on here. I've given my testimony in a sense. So, you know, and I'm willing to talk about anything, you know, government, religion, like things that you're not going to hear on the radio. I'm willing to do it right here on Facebook. So if you have ideas or you know somebody who would be a great person on the show and they're out of state, it's okay. I mean, we just did one in Dublin, Ireland. So, you know, the distance isn't a thing. I really like doing in-person interviews. It's cool. It's, you know, but if we have to do it like that, that's cool too. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm already 5 minutes over with my personal time. But again, I just want to give a shout out to Jimmy McCain, to the whole McCain family. Thank you for your years of service, brother. Thank you for your years of service to your family. You know, Cindy, hey, how you doing? Megan, we'll keep watching The View, and if Megan gets a hold of this video, Megan, if you watch this video, do me a favor, put out my YouTube channel, man. Maybe I'll get 1,000 subscribers in one day. Who knows? But thank you guys, man. Thanks for tuning in. I love every single one of y'all. We'll see y'all next Wednesday. Y'all keep being you, keep doing, you know, help somebody out. Always remember, you help somebody out, and, you know, if anything, it makes you feel good. So y'all have a good week, and we'll see y'all next week.